All right. What's up, everybody? We're back for take two of the House of Horrors podcast with Dave Kerr. As you know, last night we had a bloody incident. It wasn't us. He had bad Wi-Fi, so we'll be finishing our show in just a couple minutes. He should be here, so we figured to start up, get going, and see who stop on by. So we saw a comment earlier, this one right here. So he'll probably be stopping by as well. So Jimmy, thanks for checking us out. Or if you're going to be watching the replay, whatever works, So
I actually found Bloody Summer Camp on Amazon Blu-ray.
Nice.
$17, not that bad.
For all you physical collectors out there, definitely want to get your hands on it.
Also, check out MVD. There's some sales on Unearthed and Wild Eye. I don't know if they have any other sales right now at MVD on any of the other ones. Just those are the only two I've seen.
I don't know. But they usually have pretty good prices, though.
No, I'm eyeing FPS. That I watched that for Wild Eye Week 2022, and when I go looking, all I can do is find it in German.
German.
Hopefully, it's in English.
Yeah, that would be. Well, even if it's, I mean, not dub, but it has subtitles or whatever. So I saw, speaking of subtitle movies, there's some movie called like Zombie Ass Toilet of the Dead or something on YouTube. Yeah.
I know, I haven't seen that movie yet, but I
was like scrolling through, but then someone left a comment on Facebook saying that they were checking it out and they were like 10 minutes into it. It was like one of the best things they've ever seen. So I'm like,
it's a Japanese movie, I want to say.
Yeah, Japanese movies. So
and some of those are
Yep.
Yeah. But some of those movies are insane from over there.
Welcome. We were just talking about Zombie Ass Toilet of the Dead or something. I don't know if you heard of that.
Yeah, so that's I saw it on Netflix. I saw it available on Netflix like years ago, and I put it on my watch list, but I never did watch it. And then I saw Matt Burns and Matt Skinner were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, that's who it was who was talking about. They're like, oh yeah, it's like I'm 10 minutes into it and this is the funniest thing ever. So I guess now it's on my watch list too.
It's one of those ones from Japan because they have some insane ones over there.
Yeah. Hey Anthony, welcome.
I think there's a sushi one too. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I forget what the hell that one's called. There's a lot. I hear about. There's some chainsaw one someone told me about. Said it was fucking crazy. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, shoot. I think I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of what it's called either.
Yeah, it's some really fucking out there.
Yeah.
Shit.
There's one I accidentally gave to one of my family members called Big Tit Zombies or something, and they're like, "Is this a porn?" No. No, the title makes it sound like one.
It's not the chainsaw one, but Tokyo Gore Police is a good one.
Yeah, I've heard about that one.
Oh God, I do remember a chainsaw one. I'm just trying to remember the name.
I think I can see her, like some girl on the cover with the chainsaw. I can't think of the title, but I can picture it.
That's what I'm picturing too.
Maybe it's the Machine Girl. I mean, this looks right. I thought it had to do with chainsaws,
Machine Girl doesn't got a chainsaw. She's got that
gun thing or whatever.
Yeah, I swear I thought it had to do with it. Maybe this is it, Bloody Chainsaw Girl.
It could be. There is a sequel, a bizarre sequel to Machine Girl.
Oh, okay.
It's called Shy Machine Girl, Shyness Girl. It's a friend. She gets brought back from the dead with a butt gun. And whenever she gets embarrassed, all of a sudden this gun comes out of her butt. And
I've seen a monster, like a little clip of like a monster that like comes out of some Japanese girl's ass. Like it was like an ass monster. I don't know. They may have the weirdest stuff. Like I don't know what goes on there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's our little Japanese horror talk right there. I didn't get to ask you yesterday, a little background about you, where you're from, and what got you into horror.
I'm from Virginia. I've always had a thing for horror. I've said a couple times, different podcasts. People ask, what was the first horror movie you've ever seen?
Mhm.
I have no fucking clue. I remember watching horror movies as far back as I can remember. It's not this thing where I was like, I remember the time that my dad finally let me watch a horror movie. When I was born in '86. I remember Halloween. I remember fucking Jason. There are horror movies that I'm rediscovering that I saw when I was young, forgot about, and then I watch it again, and I'm like, oh shit, I remember this movie because I had seen it so long ago. I didn't even know what the fuck it was when I saw it. So yeah, I've always loved horror. I think when I was a kid, what I loved most was Freddy Krueger, but growing up, I got more into the slashers, like the Jasons and Michael Myers. Um, and as far as getting into the movies, like I said, that all started from a music video, and just my appreciation for horror movies, and it ended up turning into a horror movie. But I'm based out of Virginia. Been here my entire life, around Central Virginia, small ass town. Most people don't know, never heard of it, but it's close to Charlottesville, Richmond, places like that.
Well, I grew up in Virginia for about 10 years, and I was in Virginia Beach, and there used to be a business there called Video Store. All I remember is it had Edition in the name, and going there, and they would give you the catalog, and then you would go right to the horror section, and you would stick to that section because the images they would show you was just like, oh my god.
And the horror movies, even when I was a kid, the local fucking we had two local movie rentals in town. One was called Cinema Plus, and every time I went in there, I was always fascinated by the fucking covers of
Yeah.
horror films. Evil Dead,
Yeah.
fucking Graveyard Shift. There's so many that had just like those I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
There's
Did
so
you
many that had those iconic covers.
did you
And
ever hear who that is on the cover for I Spit on Your Grave?
yeah, Demi Moore's. Yeah.
So like I've been drilling over that butt for how many years?
Yeah, right. That only came out not recently. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, man, there's so much creativity when it comes to horror films. Even like I said, even the fucking artwork. You look at the artwork of a comedy or something like that, and then look at a horror movie cover. They're really, really fucking awesome artwork, especially the '80s.
Mhm.
You ever see the cover for Driller Killer?
Driller Killer. Not that I can think of.
It's a still from the movie of a close up of a guy screaming as the drill's going into his head.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, no, I don't remember that one. Oh man, yeah, that's some hell yeah, that's some fucking bloody shit, dude.
Yeah.
They probably would have censored that in like movie rentals.
Maybe do something like they did with Satanic Panic.
Oh, how they just put panic on the slip cover, but then it says the title underneath.
That was so fucking stupid.
Like, yeah. And it was Walmart that did it. Like, really? Yeah. Like,
yeah. They used to send the movies to Dollar Tree, which is where I got it. So I'm like, what the hell? I was confused. Like, I thought I was getting a movie called Panic.
Oh no, it says Satanic. Like, okay, come on. Like, there's worse stuff for that. Like,
I was gonna ask you yesterday because you'd having the slasher nurse, but you got Donna Prince, who for some reason when I look her up, Wonder Woman comes up.
Yeah. Well, she's got a bunch of different names. Diana Prince is her current name. That's not her real name. That's probably her most known name aside from her name on Joe Bob, which she goes as Darcy the Mailman.
Yeah.
But outside of Joe Bob, she goes by Diana Prince, but that's not her real name. Her real name is
yeah. But like you got her and Felicia Rose. Can you tell us a bit about Slasher Nurse, the upcoming one?
Yeah, so Slasher Nurse, it's a remake of the first film. When we made the first film, we really wanted to make a badass female slasher. We made this back in the first one back in 2017. Flash forward 5 years, and there's still not a badass female mass slasher. So we're like, with Bloody Summer Camp and Go Away and all our current films, there's a much better quality to the film because the budget was higher, because our equipment was better, because the acting was better. So our first two films, Curse and Return, they're very low budget. They're made for like $1,000. It was just a couple friends, just having fun. So the other people involved with Slash 15, my wife and my producers, Michael and Jamie, they've always wanted to remake the Slasher Nurse because they thought it was a killer idea, but it just poorly executed because it was our first film. So they wanted to make it better so that it could be as good as our new films. And we had a little bit of free time in between trying to get ready for our next project. So we decided to do it. We weren't expecting to make a lot of money. We were just going to raise, $10,000-$20,000 and put out a, pretty low budget, but much better film from what the original was. But man, it fucking took off. I guess people loved the concept. And, we raised, between the two crowdfunders, we raised over $70,000. And it was insane. So, we had a bunch of stretch goals. One stretch goal was to bring in celebrities. I think the first celebrity we announced was, I believe it was Beverly Randolph.
Yes, from Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah. And then we got Felissa back. And then we had another stretch goal, and we got Diana Prince. And then we had another stretch goal, and we brought in Brian Bremer from Pumpkinhead and Society. And then we also, one thing that we wanted to do, we worked with Jim Crut. He's the helicopter zombie in the original Dawn of the Dead. He's the zombie that's a hit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we worked with him on Return of the Slash Nurse. He was the opening kill. And he's such an amazing guy. He's kind of local to us. He lives in Pennsylvania. He's seriously like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So we wanted to work with him again. So we invited him back, and we got him in the remake for the Slash Nurse. But it's a similar story to the original. It's just revamped. It's the same kind of bone structure where it's about a prank goes wrong where a girl ends up institutionalized. She blames the people that were there for what happened. Someone close to her is killed, and she's blamed for it, and she's institutionalized. Over a decade goes by. She's been basically just kind of, the hospital didn't treat her well. She was abused in the hospital. And she manages to escape with nothing but hellbent on revenge and fucking murder. And she just goes on a rampage, killing everyone in her path to get revenge on the people that she thinks is responsible.
Gotta love those revenge films.
Yeah. One of my proudest things about that film, aside from the killer cast that we got, was we were actually able to do an opening that takes place at an actual hospital. When we did the first film, the only thing we were able to get there was this local kind of small, it was a home for adults, and they let us use like an outside shot of the building, but as far as the inside, we had to use a house. But that's what we used for the hospital in the original. In this one, we actually were able to use the giant. It's another home for adults, but I mean, it's fucking huge. It's called the Virginia Home in Richmond. And we were actually able to use a real hospital, the inside and everything. And that's where we filmed Diana Prince's scene. She's a nurse in the hospital for that opening hospital scene. So that's one of the proudest things I'm really excited about is that opening scene at the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So they are the first couple are available? Are they on any certain? Do you have a website that you sell your movies, or just go to Amazon, or where can we find your movies?
Yeah. So let's see, Curse/Nurse. That's available. Like if you wanted to watch it on like streaming,
Mhm.
I think it's available on Plex. It's available. Let me look it up right quick. It's available on Plex and some other sites. Return of the Slasher Nurse is available on YouTube. Please, dear God, don't watch it on YouTube. Because, and same Curse too. Curse is as well. Here's the thing about YouTube. YouTube does not the site that it's on. I had a contract with this streaming thing called Watch Movies Now,
Yeah.
and so there's no nudity, and that's one thing. Okay, no nudity, but they cut the shit out of these films. I'm telling you, they cut like 40 minutes out of Return, and when I tell you they just fucking hacked it. If they had asked me, I would have cut out whatever they asked me to cut out, and I would have did it in a way that at least kept some kind of fucking coherency in the film.
Right.
Literally cut shit where when you're watching it, people don't understand what the fuck is going on because they cut large amounts of stuff out of the film. It makes no sense.
Mm.
But Return of the Slash Nurse, that's on Trauma now. That's a Trauma film. It's on Trauma now, and it's also on Amazon streaming. And like I said, Curse is on Plex. Curse is on a couple other sites. Bloody Summer Camp, that's on Tubi, that's on Amazon Prime, that's on Vudu, Comcast, well, Xfinity, uh, basically a lot of the top sites for Summer Camp. And our film Go Away is not out yet, but we're wrapping that up. We'll be shopping that to distributors. I'm hoping it'll be out on streaming by summertime. As far as physical copies, we don't have any copies of Curse/Nurse anymore. Kind of once we ran out of the stock of that, we just we didn't order anymore because, like I said, it was only made for like $1,500. Return of the Slash Nurse, I do still have copies of that on DVD and Blu-ray, and I'll have that until that runs out. When that runs out, I won't order any more copies of that either. Some people are asking me, they're trying to push me. I might do it in the future. They want a 2-disc Curse Return like collector's thing. And I have been looking into that. It's just I'm so fucking overworked with everything that I do. It's just getting the time to do it because we never did have Curse on Blu-ray. It's never been on Blu-ray. It was only on DVD. So if I ever get the time, I may one day release Curse and Return as a 2-disc Blu-ray
Collectors.
collector's edition. But that I couldn't tell you if that'd be a year from now, 5 years from now. I don't know.
Right. Plus all the stuff you're working on right now, and
yeah, it should, if I could clone myself, I would.
Bobby says 3-disc.
3 discs. Bobby, hi, that motherfucker. What's going on, Bobby?
Welcome, Bobby.
3 discs.
I know that Amazon does have Bloody Summer Camp on Blu-ray.
Yeah, and with that, we actually have a distributor with Bloody Summer Camp, Gravitas Ventures, and they sell copies of that movie. I have some copies on me too. You can buy them personally through us, or you can buy them on Amazon and a bunch of other places through our distributor.
Yeah, you think that's funny? Bobby. Damn it, Bobby. Yeah, you know that Boomhauer man, he's talking like that. Good old king of the hill. Yep. Another thing I was going to ask you, what's more of a challenge for you, coming up writing it or directing it?
Probably. Well, it's kind of, I don't know. I really enjoy writing it. I guess directing, because writing, that's kind of a one-man show. That's something that's just that all I need really is just to have the idea and to sit down and just kind of come up with it. Um, writing, you do hit your dead zones, your dead spots where you get writer's block. But it's when you do sit down and it starts coming out. Sometimes I'm typing fast. I can't type fast enough to keep up with with coming up with it. Directing, it's definitely more engaging. It's like you're fucking. You've got all these moving parts and you're trying to coordinate and everything, and it's talking and trying to communicate with the people, with the actors, and trying to get them to see, to understand what you have in your head. I think that's more challenging because to articulate it in a way that they understand what you're seeing in your head, so that they do the scene right. Because if you're not getting through to them, then you're not going to get the scene that you want. And the other thing is too, sometimes you just get actors that are difficult to work with. Luckily, it doesn't happen too often, but those are the challenges of being on set, of being a director. Is if you do have a difficult cast member, you have to find some way to work with them. Where writing is just fighting with yourself.
Right. So, as a writer and director, I mean, of course, actors, stick to the script. But do you ever allow, like, maybe if something funny happens or an improv? Do you have any of those in your movies, or no? Just
Yeah, I do. I always say that I don't want to go too far off script, but I welcome anyone. First off, I welcome people to change lines around, because I feel like if it's better if they reword something in a way that they would say it versus how I wrote it, it's going to come across and sounding more natural if they say it the way they would have versus how I say it. So I'm all for that, as long as it doesn't change the message that's trying to be conveyed in that scene, and also as long as it's not too much.
right.
I'm good with changing stuff around, and I'm not like, no, that's not how that goes. But I just just as long as it's not too much. I can't. It's the same thing with auditions. I'll see some auditions where some people take some liberties with the script and kind of add some stuff or leave out some stuff, and I'm fine with that. Especially if it's entertaining. But if it feels like they just skipped over half the shit that I wrote, then it's like, okay, now I don't, I put that in there for a reason. I don't want you skipping, 3 fucking lines.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm all for it. And then actors, they'll ask me, and sometimes I'll ask them. They'll be like, hey, you mind if I try a couple things? I'm like, yeah, go for it. I'm all for hearing some different versions. As long as we get it the way it's the way it's supposed to be. If they want to go and try a couple different things, maybe I like that better. And then other times I'll tell them, just fuck around, come up with something, see what you can come up with. Because a lot of times, some of the funnier stuff that you get comes, especially the comedy part. Some of the funnier stuff comes from just rolling off the tongue. So.
Yep.
I know firsthand, writing comedy is not as good as just improv in it.
Exactly.
You write down a joke at the time, you go, "This sounds funny," and then you read it back.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you gotta scrap it. Sometimes I write something I think is funny as hell, but then when it comes out, I'm like, well, that didn't work. So we'll just we'll do something else, and we'll just nix that line. Dave Sheridan did a lot of improv, but it was already agreed upon. It's not like he came in and just didn't stick to the script. He asked me if I minded if he did improv, and I was like, no, fuck no. That's what we're hiring you for. Dave Sheridan's a fucking comedian. I'm all for him coming up with some stuff. He did do scenes exactly to the script, but then he did have his times where he went off script and kind of, especially the interrogation scene with the counselors.
Yeah.
When he talked to me about that, he asked me, he's like, can you leave that? Because I told y'all yesterday that I rewrote the sheriff scene once I knew he was going to be part of it. And he asked me, he's like, can you leave when you do that interrogation scene? can you leave that kind of vague? He's like, I got some ideas I want to come up with where I want to just kind of roast them. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So literally all I wrote was Dave Sheridan interrogates the counselors, and he went down the fucking line one by one, and said his lines, and it was funny as hell.
Yeah. Oh, is there anyone that you like to work with that you haven't had a chance yet?
Oh yeah, a lot of people. Some of them, is I don't know if I ever will. It's because SAG. Some of them, a lot of them are SAG, and I don't know if we'll ever be a SAG company or if we'll ever make SAG film. Mm-hmm. So some of them, I don't know if we ever will. And then the ones that aren't SAG, I will target. And hopefully I can work it out. There's a couple of people that I've actually talked to, and it just in the end it never came to pass. It just never worked out. Not that they were willing to do it. And I'll tell you one that was one of my biggest regrets of it not happening. The other person that we had in mind for the sheriff was, and my original pick was Reggie Bannister from Phantasm.
Oh.
That's who I wanted originally for the sheriff, but timing didn't work out, and it just never happened. I talked to his wife, Gigi Bannister. I talked to her, and over several months, trying to work it out, and it just never came, and it just never happened. And that's definitely a regret, because right now I don't think he's even acting anymore because he's gotten too old. We would have gotten him just like right on one of his last runs. So I'm a big Phantasm fan, so that's a big regret. But I think having Dave Sheridan, the comical route, probably went better for the film, though. But it would have been iconic to have had Reggie Bannister.
Yeah. As like one of his last movies. Yeah. I don't know what is I don't remember what his last movie is, but yeah.
I don't know, because I know he was attached to another film. It was anthology, but I don't. He was announced, but that was like right before his health issues, so he might not. I don't think he ever ended up in that film.
I'll have to IMDb him later.
I think it was called Seasons, and I don't know if that film's out yet or not, but I think Seasons was it was a crowdfunded anthology film that he was supposed to be a part of before he got sick.
I mean, last time I saw him was in a movie called Gangs of the Dead or something. But that was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, the last I saw him in the final Phantasm film. That's one of the last ones that I remember him in.
Yeah,
Phantasm, I think Ravager.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that was disappointing because that movie left more fucking questions than it certainly didn't wrap the series up. But I guess that's in line with fucking Phantasm. Phantasm just gets more and more confusing the more you watch.
Yeah.
We've seen you've done horror movie at a summer camp. What do you think would be other good locations for a horror movie?
So my summer camp was one of my big ones. My next one that I want to absolutely do is a fucking asylum. To me, that is the second on list of best horror movie locations is a mental institution. And I do have plans. I already have a film in mind that I want to take place in an asylum. So, oh yeah, and a third one. I'll say this too. My third favorite locations is a school. I've always wanted to do one in school because one of my favorite horror films is Slaughter High, and I love that film. And I've always wanted to do kind of a film where people are locked in a school. With a killer. So those are my top three horror movie locations.
Now, for the mental hospital, would you want to do like with a whole bunch of patients or like an abandoned mental hospital?
Yeah, abandoned. Which I mean, really, a horror movie you can go either way with that.
Yeah, either would work.
But for me, the idea that I have is it's an abandoned mental institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too crazy. I'd see it.
I think like something like an airplane, which Flight of the Dead, Living
Yeah.
Dead, or on an we've seen it done a few times. The dialect floating around boat.
Those are great for the isolation, because when you're on them, you have nowhere to fucking go. So those are great fucking locations, definitely.
I don't know if they changed it or not, but isn't the next Final Destination supposed to be on a cruise ship? I think.
That would make sense. I hadn't heard, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I heard that. I don't know, but I think it's supposed to be out this year. I heard a couple different things, and then they said that they didn't go into detail, but they're going to have a death in a tattoo parlor. I'm like,
oh God. Yeah, just make everyone afraid to fucking get tattoos.
It's like, well, got my last tattoo, but yeah.
Why not? They made everybody afraid to be behind a truck that's got wood on it.
Every time I see it, it's like, oh, change lanes.
The race car track. I mean, some of that shit is very realistic. I mean, shit like that could happen at a racetrack. I mean,
pretty much all of them, except like the really crazy deaths that they do, after death is after. But the main deaths of what they avoid, it's all everything that could happen in real life.
Roller coaster, yeah, all of them, man.
It's like I think I saw that on 1,000 Ways to Die. I don't know if you remember that TV show.
Dude, I used to watch that show religiously. I may have seen every single episode of that.
That was a great show. Yeah, I was watching some on YouTube clips. Yeah,
Ron Perlman was the narrator of that show.
Ooh.
Oh, I didn't realize that was him. But now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy I got used to him on Beauty and the Beast, and then all of a sudden I see him without the makeup. I'm like, what the hell? He's nothing like that Vincent or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Love him even more.
Yeah. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy, everything he does is awesome. Yeah.
Oh, just look at his tweets when he's mad at somebody. He doesn't hold back. He's like, screw you little dick, or some shit like that.
Oh, even on I saw a clip of him on the news, like when the whole SAG strike thing was going on, and was like, so what do you have to say? And he's like, fuck you. He's just like, I don't care. Just no filter. Yeah. Yeah, I met him at Spookella. He's a pretty cool guy, though, if you ever get a chance to meet him at a convention. So, since I've just said conventions, do you have any plans for any future conventions at all, or been to any?
I think we're gonna be at one. Man, we used to try and hit as many as possible. I think one year we did like 6 or 7, and we were really getting out there. We were at Mad Monster. We were at New Jersey Horror Con. We were trying to hit them all. But we just kind of dialed it back because we started losing money, man. It's like one year at Mad Monster, we had like the best year ever, and we made a lot of money, and it worked out. It was great. And then it was that was before COVID. That was the year right before it happened. It might have been the year of, because it was February. And that was before Bloody Summer Camp was out. So, I mean, that was just with Curse and Return. Those were the only 2 movies we had. But, we actually sold a lot. Then we came back post-COVID. It might have been 2022 or 2021. And, man, we didn't even break even. We actually lost money on that one. And so after that, I think we did a bunch of cons, and we lost money on almost every one of them. And so we just kind of dialed it back. I was like, I'm out, as far as cons go for a while. But I think this isn't confirmed, but I think we might be at Carolina Fear Fest in May. That's a Memorial weekend. And after that, I don't know. We might be at another one before the end of the year, but that'd probably be it. We don't really hit too many anymore.
Right. Okay. Let's see. What else?
Are there any of the horror movies coming out this year that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, shit. I'd have to think, because I can't think of what's coming out this year right now. Let me see if I can find a list.
I know that's what Terrifier 3.
Terrifier 3 is
yeah.
the Mickey Mouse one, and whenever the next Winnie the Pooh one. Oh, there's a Bambi one and a Peter Pan one.
None of those am I looking forward to at all. I saw the Winnie the Pooh one. It wasn't bad for what it was. I know it got roasted by people because I think that was one of those movies where a lot of mainstream people were introduced to indie horror and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of fucking people watched that thinking that was a big studio movie that does not normally watch indie movies, and they were like, "What the fuck am I watching?" But for an indie movie, I mean, it wasn't bad. There were some choices that I felt like they should have did differently, but I didn't really get into it, and I wasn't really excited for the sequel. It's just I don't know, that whole fucking Disney stuff turning into horror movies isn't really that appealing to me.
Yeah. They actually had a Disney horror movie, like I forget what year, but the Tomorrowland or whatever, where they filmed that at Disney. That was a weird one.
Was that a horror movie?
Yeah, they made one that was like black and white. It was like a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we already had a Pinocchio one, maybe more than one Pinocchio one.
Well, they're doing another Pinocchio I saw, like called Pinocchio Unhinged. Yeah.
See, I don't know how I feel about Strangers, the remake. I don't understand it, I guess. I mean, I guess they're remaking it because I think that they all died except for the one guy at the end of the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's just strange to remake a movie this fast.
They're doing 3 of them, I think.
They made a trilogy, but starting from scratch. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Imaginary, that looks interesting. I don't know a lot about it, but that looks like that's pretty. It might be. It could be Nosferatu. I always love Nosferatu, so I'm interested in seeing how that goes. You ever seen the was it Shadow of a Vampire with
John Malkovich?
A little bit of it.
Yeah, I love that fucking movie.
And at some point, we're supposed to get Last Train to New York, which is one that's got people's pitchforks already.
That Last Train to Busan or whatever remake.
Yeah.
I'll
watch it. Just can't say whether or not I'm going to be judgmental.
Yeah, and so there's another one that I heard about. And I don't know what the fuck happened with it. Have you ever seen One Cut of the Dead?
What was it?
One Cut of the Dead.
Rings a bell.
I don't think I've seen it though.
It's on Shudder. I believe it's either Japanese or Korean. I think it's Korean. But it's an amazing fucking movie. You'll watch the first 40 minutes and be like, what the fuck am I watching it? And you'll want to turn it off. Don't turn it off. Because after 40 minutes, it becomes fucking amazing. The last half of that movie is worth sitting through the boring 40 minutes of the first part of it. Because it takes that first 40 minutes, flips it on its fucking head, and makes it all that interesting that you saw that first 40 minutes. It was a major twist. It fucking blew up. People loved it. They were supposed to remake that in 2 different countries that I heard about. I don't see the point in remaking it, but I was interested to see what happened with it, and I haven't heard anything about it. So I don't know if that ever came out or not. But if y'all ever watch it, watch that, and after the first 40 minutes, you'll be like, I'm not really sure what the hell I'm watching, and then the last 40 minutes, you'll be like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, South Korea puts out some pretty good ones. Train to Busan, The Host. Have you seen Peninsula yet?
No, I saw Parasite.
Parasite's a good one. Yeah,
I haven't seen Peninsula.
Peninsula is the one. If you go and watch it, because it's pretty much a sequel or set in the same world.
Yeah.
If you go in thinking it's gonna be like that, you're gonna be disappointed. It's best to watch it has its own like separate entity.
Yeah.
It's got some good action sequences in it that will make you think about Fast and Furious. But it's good. It's just like you're not gonna get those emotional highs and stuff you got in Train to Busan.
Yeah, that one definitely was emotional, but it was good though. Was it Gangnam Hospital?
Oh, Asylum.
Yeah, that's it. That was pretty good.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I've heard of it. So
yeah, my cinematographer told me to check it out because we were talking about doing an Asylum movie, and he sent me that. I checked it out and thought it was pretty good.
There's the one, was it Dead Pit or whatever, that's in an asylum?
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That's one of the
what-
80s, and the joke about it is the main actress, she had altered her costume because it's about, make it cooler, like, get rid of the sleeves.
uh-huh.
At the end of every day, they got to clean to get off the blood and stuff off it. For some reason, the top and the panties, which is all she wore, they kept getting smaller and smaller for some mysterious reason, and no one knows why. And no one was complaining either.
My two favorite Asylum movies is Session 9, which is an amazing fucking movie, and the other one is Grave Encounters.
Oh,
Grave Encounters was an awesome movie. The second one sucked ass, but the first one was amazing.
Oh yeah,
I keep thinking I've seen it, but it
So,
might be one of the ones I saw but forgot.
Grave Encounters, it basically parodies, it makes fun of Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
Because the main guy is basically a knockoff of Zach Bragg. Zach, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
And basically that's what it is they do a lockdown in an asylum, and they get locked in, and dude, shit just goes fucking crazy. That's a top fucking one for me. But like I said, the sequel was just awful.
Yeah, I don't remember the sequel really, but I remember the first one.
The sequel was like some streamers went in there, and that's all I remember.
Oh, yeah. Some streamers did some shit, and so was the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it just, I don't know what the hell they were thinking on that one.
What's a movie that you would like to see remade?
Oh shit, I don't know, because I always try, whenever I hear that, I always try to think of a movie that I thought had a good premise but could have been better. I wouldn't want a remake of something that I already thought was great. Like I wouldn't want to remake Slaughter High.
Right.
I think is amazing. Now I'd love to do a sequel to Slaughter High, but I don't see the need to remake it because I think it's amazing. Damn, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, because, like I said, I'd choose something that I thought was a good idea.
Just didn't turn out like it should have. Yeah.
Well, they had a good premise, but it just was executed poorly.
Yeah. Was it Children of the Dead is one that kind of, it's one that's got Tom Savini in it for like 5 minutes, and cool thing is about another zombie outbreak happened years later after this original one from the 60s, and they don't deliver.
Yeah,
it's slow, and then the zombies at the end, and then it's over. It's one of those ones. I think to me it's even worse when you have a movie that looks like it's good, but they don't try.
Yeah,
it's just like you can see where they're not trying. It's frustrating to me.
It's like they show the best parts in the trailers, and then you watch the movie. It's like, that was the only good part. I wasted 90 minutes for the 30 seconds that I saw. Yep. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Or minute or whatever. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'd like to see remade. Like, some movies don't need to be remade because, like you said,
hey, give us a decent remake of Day of the Dead and stop being mean to that movie. I mean, we got 2 remakes. I like the first one more than the second one, and we got that monstrosity of a TV show. Just come on, be nice to it. Oh, I forgot. There's Day of the Dead 2, the sequel / prequel.
Wasn't Nick Cannon in one of those remakes? I think
the first remake.
Yeah.
To me, of all the Romero zombie movies, that's the punching bag, and I'm just like, this for once, just give us something that's not a punching bag. Just show it some love.
What's that movie they released of his? Like, something I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but something about like a carnival that George.
Oh yeah, it's about the senile guy, the amusement park.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either because I'm not entirely sure I would enjoy that, because it was supposed to be made as a PSA, basically to be nice to old people, and it's supposed to be really fucking weird.
There's actually a PSA that was released back in the late 60s, early 70s that would make a great movie. It's a water safety PSA, and you can find it on YouTube. it's the water spirit telling you, I'm going to get you. You know, you need to be careful. It's Donald Pleasance, and his delivery is so creepy. If you can find it, it's like that would make a great movie. Just find a creepy guy to voice the death spirit of the water.
Yeah.
Check that out. So when you're not writing and directing, what do you like to do in your free time? Any other hobbies or?
No, not really. The only other thing that I do really is I play music still. Um, Outside of that, I mean, that's it. I still have band practice, and we still some every now and then we'll play shows and stuff. But for the most part, like if I'm not working, usually I'm working on some aspect of filmmaking. You know, there's so many hats between casting, between writing, pre-production, post-production, editing. You know, even financing, dealing with taxes and everything. I have plenty to do. It never gets boring because I always have so many different stuff. I can literally come home and just like, well, what do I want to do today? Because I have so much to do.
I'll just choose.
Edit, I can do anything I want. But yeah, those are my two loves. Though is making movies and making music.
Well, we've seen some horror movies that have blended that. Hard Rock Zombies, the original Trick or Treat. What do you think about doing something like that for a movie, having like a rock band or something, mixing that in to it, like those movies did?
Yeah, it's just never been something I've been interested in. I mean, I get it. I get it's definitely an interesting concept, but I've just never been interested in doing the mashup like that. It's just not really my thing. I did hear that someone local to me is trying to make something like that. My cinematographer is actually working on it. It's a film called Brides. It's supposed to be like a rock horror rock opera type thing. Um, they've been working on it for a while, but it's they're really low budget, and you know it takes a lot, I guess, to put that stuff, that kind of pageantry, because it's a lot of rock shows and stuff like that in it. So and they're writing all the music for it and everything.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's definitely an interesting thing. It's just not something I've ever really been into.
Mm-hmm. So, since you do like the crowdfunding and stuff, if you other ideas like when you raise money, do you think it's better to wait till you have a certain budget or just go for what you have and just pull it off?
It's kind of a little bit in the middle. You have to have an idea of a minimum budget, like you have to basically be like, what's the minimum that we can make this film for? Because if you're nowhere close, then there's no point in even starting. I mean, if we don't reach our goal in one crowdfunder, we know that we can always do another crowdfunder and try to get more funds and everything. But again, if we're trying to raise $20,000 and we raise $2,000, that's not really a good start.
Right.
So it's a little bit in between. A lot of times we don't know what our budget's going to be. Like I said, we did not expect Slash and Earth to have the budget that it has, but that money it goes to use regardless, because every I think when I did our taxes this year, last year we raised $60,000 and we spent like $68,000. So we actually went $8,000 over budget.
Wow.
Because with filmmaking, there's always somewhere that the money can go to make the film better. You really have to start with the bare. You really have to. Well, what's the least we can do, and then just kind of add the bells and whistles as you get the budget for it. So we always kind of have, and we always talk about that. Well, okay, I'll do a pre-budget sheet where I'll kind of get an estimate of what each section of filmmaking, the editing, the cast, the travel and lodging. I'll do a budget sheet estimating what it's going to cost for that bare minimum. And first I'll make a sheet and I'll cut it down. What can we cut? What can we cut? What can we cut? And then it's like, okay, this is the minimum. that we need. And if we can get half that on our first crowdfunder, then I feel like we can get the rest of it, later. Hopefully we'll get more than half of our minimum. But if we can get at least half of it, then I feel like we can make up the other half later. But if we don't get anywhere close, we might need to start, making some decisions. That's one reason why we have a minimum goal on our crowdfunder. Some people set their minimum goal for like $1,000, and then they raise $40,000, and that's amazing. But I don't want to set my minimum goal for $1,000 and make $1,000 because I can't do shit with $1,000.
Right.
When we did Slash Nurse, we put our minimum goal was $10,000. We were shooting for 20, and we knew if we got 10, we could probably get the other 10. Then we ended up getting $60,000 off that crowdfunder, and it allowed us. If we had just gotten the 10,000. We might have gotten one celebrity. We wouldn't have gotten 5. We wouldn't have gotten the hospital. It would have been it would have been a much smaller movie. That was the original idea, was that it was going to be a much smaller film. But as it grew, we were able to get better locations. We were able to get more celebrities. We were able to spend more time filming. So the film became better and better. But yeah, it's a lot of spitballing, like just trying to estimate what you're gonna need.
Yeah, I saw earlier on your Facebook when you were talking about the first Bloody Summer Camp. One of the perks was like a sort of own camp or mystery experience, something along those lines. But it didn't sell, unfortunately. So I guess you're not planning on that again, or
no, because back then, we it was a lot harder for us to make money back then, and we were just trying to come up with anything that we could. What can we get that's going to raise money? And one idea that we had was, okay, well, it costs this much to rent the camp. We've got counselor. Well, we've got cast members that we know, that we're friends with, that we know that they'll show up and do something for us to help raise money. So, what if we spend one day? I was like, I can sit down, I can write a script that's similar to the movie, but an interactive script where we include, we were going to sell 5, where we include 5 people in the story, and their counselors. They show up to the first day, they get the orientation speech by the camp owner. They get shown around the camp, and then they're interacting with the mystery of it basically just kind of like I said, a theater, interactive theater experience where you would actually you'd be handed off from one counselor to the next counselor, and and you would live through kind of like the movie experience and trying to figure out who the killer was. I thought that would have been fun. It would have been fun for us to do, but at this point, it's just not feasible anymore. Because the cast members that are going to be in Bloody Summer Camp 2, they're not all local people. They're not, they're people that we've never worked with before, And the camp is also, this was back when we had more availability at the camp. The camp's got a lot of weddings and stuff going on, so we can't really afford to spend a day doing something like that, when we could be filming. So
right. Too bad. That sounds like really interesting. That would have been.
It does.
Man, I thought we were gonna sell it. I really did.
Wow. Do you have like any ideas that you can tell us now that you plan on doing, or you're just gonna wait till you post it up?
What, for the crowdfunding?
Yeah, for the crowdfunding. Anything interesting?
Yeah, so I mean, we're planning on bringing back a lot of favorites, and then we're also trying to add some stuff. One thing that we're gonna have is Devilface has a new jacket. He's got a different look. His mask is gonna be more worn because it's 8 years later. The mask is gonna be a little bit older, and he's gonna have a new jacket. He's actually, in the original, he wore a black members only jacket. In this one, he's going to be wearing a Letterman jacket. It's a black and white Letterman jacket. He's got a D on the front because he steals it. This isn't a spoiler, but he steals it from from one of the counselors, and their name starts with a D. Their name is actually Derek. That's why it's got D on it. And then on the back of it, it has "fuck off" written on the back of the jacket. We're gonna have Scream worn jackets, Letterman jackets for sale that it will be worn by Doubleface in the film, and we'll sell them. One of our really popular ones was we had Camp Oars, like a boating oar. I actually have one hanging up on the wall, and it's signed by the entire cast. Every celebrity, like the one that I have, is signed by Dave Sharon. It's signed by Felissa. So this oar will be signed by the entire cast. Every crew member, not crew member, but every cast member and celebrity. So Felissa will definitely be signing it. If we have any more celebrities added to the cast, they'll sign it too. So I mean, it's an awesome oar. That one, if it's just like that one has a bloody handprint on it, and so we'll have that. Someone also wanted to do. I'm looking into camp signs, like a Camp Rid Horizon sign that's signed by the cast as well. What else? We'll probably sell props. We'll have the signed posters. That's a big favorite. Mm-hmm. And one thing I'll say about that is I always tell people if you're going to get a signed poster, get it first, get it early, because when we did the posters for the Slasher Nurse, those signed posters we started selling them before we started adding cast members. So we started selling them signed posters $50 a piece. Mm-hmm. Then we got Beverly, still $50 a piece. Then we got Felissa, still $50 a piece. Then we got Brian Bremer, still $50 a piece. We added all these celebrities whose names signed that poster, but when we were selling it originally, you were getting it for $50. But then when we did the second crowdfunding, I think it was $150 for that poster, because now you know whose names are on the poster.
They're on that, yeah.
So getting it early before we announce who's going to be on it, you get the poster for a lot cheaper than than you would if it's after we know who's going to be on it.
And just Felissa Rose, I mean, if you buy at convention, that's almost just worth it with her alone, even. So yeah.
For the $50, I mean, you're getting the poster and Felissa's signature pretty much damn near pays for that, and then you got the rest of the cast too. Mm-hmm. And then every celebrity we add just adds more and more value to it. Trying to think of other perks. I know they're. We'll have the counselor T-shirts available. We'll have Bloody Summer Camp 2 T-shirts available. Your name in the film. We'll name one of the counselors after you. Your picture in the film. People love that. We have your picture. Usually, it's as a missing persons flyer, or it might be a frame on the wall. Someone's sweetheart back home. So those big ones.
I love you, honey. You're a missing victim.
those are ones that we that are really popular. Usually, is the name in the film or the picture in the film. Mm-hmm. Other stuff like that.
Yeah. Once you have it up and everything, let me know, and I'll be sure to share out the link and help you guys out. Of course.
Yes, same here.
Definitely appreciate that. Like I said, we're shooting to film. Right now, it's looking like September. So, we want to try and hit it hard right out of the gate. That way, we can just start going. Start getting everything ready, getting everything prepped, booking everything, and so the faster that we can, get funded and everything, the quicker we can get to rolling on it.
Well, now, what do you come up with some of your ideas for your movies? We talked about, Slasher Nurse was the music video, but where do you come up with some of the other ideas?
Bloody Summer Camp, that was with Bloody Summer Camp. That was me wanting to do a homage to the films that I loved. Like I said, I always wanted to do a summer camp film, and one thing that drove me to do Bloody Summer Camp was I was with everyone else who was just tired of the fucking remakes. They remake all these fucking movies, and then people hate them. People don't understand why they keep fucking doing it. And I kept saying the reason that people don't like the remakes, like I said, for one, because you're remaking a film that didn't need to be remade. For two, you're taking away what people love about the original films. The original films, the reason people loved those 80s camp slashers was because they were in the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
The first thing they did was took Jason out of the fucking 80s. You know, I mean, that's a fucking sin. So what I wanted to do is I didn't want to do a remake. I wanted to do another camp slasher from the 80s that people like me who enjoy 80s slashers could enjoy. Instead of a remake, here's a film that pays tribute to all these films, that tries to deliver with everything you loved about Sleepaway Camp and Jason without fucking shitting on the series. And it's got the things that you love. It's got the the killer deaths. It's got the 80s feel. It's got the summer camp. So instead of doing a remake, I wanted to do what I felt like everyone really wanted, which was just to have more 80s slashers. So that was the idea for slash for a Bloody Summer Camp, was to make, not reinvent the wheel, but just make another wheel. Just make something that's what you love, but just a new take, a new story. And then with Go Away was never originally meant to be a film. It was just an idea that I had always kind of thought in my head, you know, old school slashers, and then the new age killers like the home invasion films like Strangers. I always wondered, what would happen if the Strangers knocked on a retired Michael Myers house? How would that, if you had to put the old school up against new school, what would happen? And, that idea is something that kind of just, I always thought about, that would be a cool kind of concept. And when after we did play summer camp, everyone was, my producers, they were asking me, well, okay, so what's next? And I threw out a couple ideas that I had, and that was one that everyone really seemed to like they really liked that idea. So I was kind of surprised because, like I said, I threw it out there, but I didn't think that was going to be something that anyone was going to want to do. But they really liked the idea, and so that's where that came from. Was just a thought in my head.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to check that out definitely when that comes out too. So yeah.
We're pushing to get it out as soon as possible. We're on the last stretch. I'm done with because we re-edited the film from what we sold to our backers, because it's a shorter version, but it's also I re-edited the opening sequence, and I re-edited a couple other scenes. We changed some of the score, but I'm done with it. The color grade's done. The score's done. I'm just in the last little part where I'm waiting for my sound editor to finish editing the sound, and then it's done. Then I'm shopping it to distributors, and usually it'll probably take me a month to shop around, and then once someone picks it up, if it's anything like Bloody Summer Camp, they had it out within 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really thinking it's going to be out hopefully by summertime.
Sounds good. So yeah.
And that Matthew's in it. So
okay.
yeah.
What advice do you have for anyone who wants to write, direct?
Well, writing is just doing it. The only thing that I couldn't tell you is, as far as writing it, I don't know what you would do afterwards, because I've never had to shop my script around, and I don't know how difficult that is. When I write my stuff, I make my own stuff, so I'm not really sure. Writing is really, it's really just sitting down and going for it. But I don't know what the ins and outs would be as far as trying to sell your stuff after you get it written. I know a lot of, as far as authors, you can self distribute, your books on Amazon now, but I'm not really sure about screenplays. But anyone who wants to make a film, I'm going to give you the same advice someone gave me that I ignored. Try do a short film first, at least one. Not because you'll. I mean, for one thing, you might not get anything out of it, but it's better to learn the difficulties of filmmaking when you don't have as much hanging over your head. Because I went straight into making a full length film, and it was very overwhelming for me when I did my first film. And then I had, I know it doesn't seem like a lot. I had $1,500 in backer money, and I did not want to disappoint those people. To me, that seems like pennies now. But I had people that had invested in the film, so I felt like I had an obligation to finish it. But it was overwhelming learning all the problems that come with filmmaking while making that film, because you deal with cast members that don't show up, you deal with filming with someone for weeks and then they drop out of the film, and then all that footage is unusable. You deal with sound issues, you deal with the weather. That's a lot of stuff to deal with, especially when you don't know that shit's going to happen. If you do a short film and you deal with those problems, it's a good crash course into what you're about to get involved in before you sink yourself into a full length film. And the other thing is too, a lot of people don't want to invest in you unless they see that you've had work before. So if you do a short film, at least you can say, look, here's an example of my work. I did this short film, blah, blah, blah. Now I want to do a full length film. At least they see that you've done something. When I did my first film, I had no fucking credit. And, most of the money that I raised was through friends. And even they admitted they didn't expect me to actually finish the fucking film. They didn't expect to get anything for that money. They thought that the film wasn't going to get made. Um, so I guess if you do a short film, it'll give you an idea of what you're getting into, and also it'll give you a little bit of work to show people, like, look, this is what I can do. I want to make a full length film. Versus, I have no experience, I have nothing to show you,
but I want to do this. So yeah.
Okay, do you think with a lot of these streaming services like Tubi, that's good for a lot of independent filmmakers to get the stuff out there, seen?
I think it's good and bad. Yeah. Tubi right now is about the best thing for independent filmmakers to get paid, but it's going to end and it's going to go to shit, because that's what happened with Amazon. With Amazon Prime, when I first got Curse / Nurse, I put it on Amazon Prime without a distributor. I put it on there myself. Like the first fucking month, I made like $1,200. It was great. And then it went down to like a few $100s, but it wasn't bad. That was like 2018. In like March of 2018, I got a fucking email from Amazon saying, we usually pay like 9 cents per 100 minutes streaming. We're cutting it down to 1 cent per 100 stream. And dude, it was like basically Amazon's like, hey, we're gonna fuck you. And what it was only for indie filmmakers, because if your movie had been viewed over 300,000 times, then you're still getting paid top money. But if you have a movie that's been viewed only 5,000 times, well, you're getting paid shit. So it was basically like, I put a film on Amazon. The Rock puts a film on Amazon. His gets paid way more than mine per view, because he's getting more views. Why does it matter? If someone is watching my film once and someone's watching The Rock's film once, why the fuck am I getting paid less than him? You're still getting that one fucking view. Yeah. Shouldn't it equal pay where it doesn't matter how much your fucking film is viewed, it gets paid the same amount per stream? Mm-hmm. But that's what they did come March. They did that, and Amazon pays fucking pennies now. I get ever since I put return on Amazon, I get a fucking check for like $5 for like 3 months. It's pathetic. And Tubi is good, but I heard heard through the grapevine someone said that Tubi's starting to send out letters now saying that they're going to be more selective with their films that they allow on there. So Tubi is good for what it is. It's fucked up because in any other in any other view, Tubi is kind of bad for us because when someone views your film for free on Tubi, you know what actually pays when someone goes and rents your film on like Amazon or Vudu. When they rent your film for $3 and then you get like 60% of that profit, that pays a lot more than a free stream on Tubi where you get paid on ad revenue. But the thing is, Tubi's paying the most because that's where the most views are going. So it shouldn't be the best thing for filmmakers, but it is. You know, it's like it's fucked up because it's fucking filmmakers, but at the same time, it is the only thing that's paying filmmakers right now.
Oh. Yep. All right. Anything else, Seko? We got an hour and 10 minutes. If I mean, of course, you're welcome to stay longer, of course. But if there's anything you want to tell us, or...
right now I can feel that tickle I've had in my throat that's been bothering me, making me cough. I can feel it. I've had a cough off and on since New Year's, and every time I think it's gone away, it comes back, and I can feel that tickle.
Well, I've been like that for a couple of weeks now, but I mean, I've been coughing less today, but it's still, lingering on. A lot of people have been getting sick. People at work had it.
It likes to hit me in the middle of the night when I'm asleep. I wake up and all of a sudden that's when it likes to really hit me.
Yeah.
I guess the only last thing, just tell everyone, Blaze Summer Camp Part 2, Red Horizons coming out. We're going to be crowdfunding probably around the middle of February.
Yep.
And then we're going to be filming in the fall. As far as the premise, this takes place 8 years after the first film. Camp Holiday Trails was closed down after the events of the first film. It's been closed for 8 years. This is the first year it's been reopened by a new camp owner named Teddy. He's opened the camp under the new name Camp Red Horizon. And unlike the first film that took place on the first day of camp, this film takes place on the last official day of camp as they're sending the kids home from camp and they're spending the last week trying to close the camp up for the off season. And it's another whodunit where someone in a devil face mask shows up and starts killing people. Miss Crowell is back. Fliss Rose is back as Miss Crowell. She's determined to find out who it is and stop it before it ends up as bad as the first film. So that's the whole pitch for it. And like I said, just keep an eye out for the crowdfunder around mid-February.
All right. Like I said, we'll keep in touch, and I'll make sure to get that out there. And then later on in the year, I mean, you're always welcome back. And any of the cast also, once announce, want to promote it. And
Steven can just pass that information along to me, and I'll do the same.
Yeah.
I appreciate your help. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. I really do.
Yep. So thank you for coming back for part 2. I'm glad that we were connected today. So
yeah, man.
Right, and thanks to everyone in the chat, Bobby, and let's see who else. Haunted by Horror. My mom was in here. So all right, have a good night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Bye. Take care.
Later.
And I guess next week, I hadn't messed Angel back, but I know she was filming, so I'll talk to her and possibly her next week. If not, we'll figure something out. So, thanks, Bobby. Thanks for joining us. Nice meeting you, and hope to see you all again next week. All right, bye.